Alright, so first let's see what happened to Clank.
Where am I?
They must have blasted you good, soldier. You're on planet Metallis in the middle of Robot War 3.
Metallis?
Robot Wars?
Yes,
different than I remember.
remember, Dweebs, this was the period of time where it was a big thing on television, so we're having a mini game based on that. Clank is
When
in
did this game
control.
come out?
2007, I think.
Robot Wars ended 3 years before.
Well,
Super Robot Wars over in America was still a thing.
not to mention this game was in development for like something like a year and a half. Anyway, yeah, so this is basically your one of the mini games where you actually can perform. In this case, Clank is in control of a specific vehicle and you have to kill everyone else in the arena. It's relatively simple. Each vehicle has a specific type of attack. You can get an extra weapon, whatever defensive or offensive may be, from one of the boxes in this corner. While in the other, there's nanotech. There are some local traps that can actually hinder you, and you can just survive. Other challenges tied to this category puts Clank in different types of vehicles, similar to the ones that you're seeing on screen, for the sake of actually giving a bit of variety and making you accustomed to the different kind of moveset that the vehicles do have. But for the purpose of, not dragging too long, I'm just gonna showcase this first one, the obligatory that you get, basically. Again, it's just a good time waster and a replacement for the arena in order to gain extra bolts and depending on how you manage to complete it, also armor parts. Yeah, because some of them are rewards for this. The only major thing is that sometimes the enemies might be a bit spongy, and keep in mind they can still steal the crates under your feet, so they can potentially regain a bit of health from the non-tech boxes.
So this is what the dark and gritty version of Beyblade would look like. It's even worse. It's even worse than that, actually. Not only do you have the spiky, the actual blades on the end of it when you're spinning around, but they also decapitate you and stick your head on there.
Wibs, now's the part where I realized the dark and gritty version of Beyblade was already Beyblade itself.
It's Scrunch. How did he find us?
Scrunch? You have seen Ratchet? You know where he is?
Okay, bye.
A Cyclops monkey.
Remember, it's only for the game. Ratchet is being experimented, unfortunately.
595 is now 1
Oh no, this is gonna turn out like Jack 2, isn't it?
I must get to him immediately. Downloading coordinates.
Okay,
So now it's up to Clank to save the day.
There are two other types of minigames here that again consist on different challenges. I think one I'm gonna show it now. Yes, basically it's an equivalent of football/rugby. You use the command of Clank that used in the zone section about grabbing objects and throwing, in this case the gadget bots, to score. Properly throwing the gadget bots into the board. It's very simple, but it gets a bit eclectic. Thankfully, the enemy AI for this particular minigame is a bit stupid. I don't know how we got programmed, but I can tell you that it wasn't the most brilliant. Which also reminds me of something. This game did had online multiplayer back when it came out, or even local, I think. I don't know how it was received, but they did bother to actually implement it for these mini games, so that happened.
So yeah, Scrunch just showed up and just left. This definitely leads into my theory that this was made to be as newcomer friendly as possible. Like, sure, yeah, Scrunch is technically a character from the third game, but he's out just as quickly as he's in. So
this next one is more interesting. It's a puzzle set using the gadget bots. in a bit similar to, say, Mario vs. Donkey Kong or Lemmings, where each gadgetbot has a specific command between swinging, detonating, creating an artificial bridge, or using a teleporter, and you need to get to the goal. Now, this, on the other hand, since our channel has a proud tradition of showcasing puzzle games, was something we will be showing in its entirety, all instances. It's just that for future appearances they will be sped up because due to the complexity they might take a bit, basically.
Yeah, like with the frame rate, this had some flip phone game, Java games energy.
Well, remember, this was done for a portable console, so it makes sense.
Lemmings.
That's true.
I think Lemmings is one of those IP that now is owned by Sony, but nobody knows what to do with it.
Wait, did they buy Psygnosis?
I think, yeah, I think it's because of something like either they outright bought the studio or they just automatically transfer to them.
Okay.
Scrunch just popping in only to disappear is kind of funny to me. Like, again, it's nothing too egregious, but like, you have to wonder, wait, why was Scrunch on a rocket? And if he knows where Ratchet is, why didn't he tell the rest of the Galactic Federation?
I chalk it up to the type of humor that this franchise has, especially because Scrunch will also reappear for the ending. I just say that.
Okay, again, it's been a while since I so much as experienced this game, but an inkling I am getting is that, again, the writing isn't the worst, but I do feel like it kind of has the opposite issue of Deadlock, whereas Deadlock was a bit too serious for Ratchet. This feels like it hinges a little too much on the silly side for Ratchet and Clank. Like, I'm not asking for a deep, thought-provoking narrative or whatnot, but it definitely feels like they prioritize more of the jokey jokes more than, you know, the story proper.
Also, I don't know about that because, as we'll learn in the very next part, what they are currently doing to Ratchet is relatively serious business.
I'm mainly just going off of the inkling I'm getting so far. Again, like I said, it's been ages since I so much as pressed a button for this game, so this is like pretty close to a fresh experience from the game for me, but again, so far, the tone has definitely felt more silly. Like, maybe they'll ramp up the serious stuff, but again, it feels like a more simplistic story. Yes, even by Ratchet and Clank standards.
The last Lemmings game was the 2006 remake of the first game. And that's it. We haven't had any Lemmings games since 2006.
Clearly, this is a sign we'll get one in 2030.
Obviously. I think the original PC games are probably on GOG or something, so I'm pretty sure they're still available.
For these kinds of puzzles, as you can see, a lot of times you have to think outside the box. In this case, completely ignore the panel that pushes you backward instead.
So what's your favorite of the mini games in this game?
This one, definitely. Again, brain teaser.
Yeah, I can get it.
The others are fine too, but they take a bit of time, especially the later stages where they try to ramp up the difficulty. These, however, you know, they feel straight up, you know, traditional puzzle that, honestly, I could have seen an entire small mini game done like that, you know, entire separate game on its own done like that.
It's quite funny because it's seeing where the developer. I'm not sure if it was exactly the same developers, but the development group went to after Lemmings.
What happened?
DMA Design will go on to become Rockstar North and make the GTA series.
Yep. All right.
Yeah, basically.
So
yeah,
they were. Wait. I guess they were the same people who did then Space Station Silicon Valley, or did they merge the two teams?
Do not know.
That I don't know.
Oh, surprisingly, Lemmings is not on GOG. Any game at all. When they changed to Rockstar North, there was a restructuring. A lot of people left. So
Anyway, Metallis in itself does not really have that much more going for outside of the Clank challenges. Outside of a specific thing that happens, you can do it as soon as you reunite Ratchet to Clank, basically. But I will showcase it for the extra part. It involves that particular door that is right there. But I'll just explain when it happens. Other than that, now we need to find a way to get out. And since Clank doesn't have a spaceship, he needs to find a conveniently placed panel that can transform into Giant Clank for something that, well, we only had kind of a taste of in the original trilogy, but this is expanded a bit more, using Giant Clank for a shooter section rather than being on foot.
Well, yeah. To the series' credit, we have established that yes, he can fly between planets.
Pretty much. Again, also because Iron Giant references.
Ironically, though, it's always been implied that Clank doesn't like his giant form.
I don't think it's ever particularly stated. It's just a thing that happens. You choose to be Clank. Now choose.
now choose.
No.
You are not a weapon. You are who you choose. I actually recently rewatched Iron Giant with Deji, so that Deji could.
Did you manage to finally make him stop?
Yes, I have done. I have done it. I have done it.
You managed to fix him.
I fixed them.
Why? Did Deds just used to snark about that movie?
Remember, they told us in the past, because it was unfortunately captured in a moment where I think Cartoon Network was broadcasting in 24 hours.
Oh, yeah, I remember those
kind of went
days.
insane from that.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
Don't get
me wrong. I love Iron Giant too, guys. But who the hell at Cartoon Network thought it was a good idea? Hey, guys, let's have this movie on loop 24 hours per day. I'm sure people will not get tired of it or something.
We're talking about the same channel that in recent years became infamous for spamming Teen Titans Go every single day.
Okay. No. But here's the thing. That I get because Teen Titans Go makes them money. I seriously doubt reruns of Iron Giant would make them all that much money, honestly.
Okay, Iron Giant was very popular, but yeah, no, trying to run that movie just literally 24/7. Okay. If I were to give them the benefit of a doubt, while we are spoiled a lot more by streaming these days, but I remember back in the old days where if you wanted to catch a certain movie or show, you had to get it at a certain time, or you might be plumb out of luck unless you recorded it. So, on paper, it seemed like a good idea. Constantly run Iron Giant so everyone could get a chance to watch it. The problem is, in Cartoon Network fashion, they overdid it, to say the least.
The thing is,
cow.
Remind me, Joe, but this was during the early 2000s, right?
Yes.
I mean, by that point, you could get the movie on DVD.
Okay, but here's the thing. Let's say you didn't want to pay for the home media.
Okay,
I guess.
I need to have a crash course. Wasn't Cartoon Network on pay TV in America? Because I can tell you it sure as hell was in my country.
Cable.
So if you had the money to pay for cable TV, you had the money to get the home video stuff.
Okay. Typically, Cartoon Network was not on a channel that you paid extra for on the cable plan, essentially. I kind of get it, the idea with... Okay, cable back then, especially when it started to get advanced, was kind of the equivalent to what streaming is now. Ergo, cable was supposed to be the ultimate way to have home media. Cable was supposed to have, enough channels so that if, say, a movie you really wanted to watch was, say, something you wanted to watch, chances were there was a channel that was going to run it here and there, essentially. And part of that ploy was for the channels to get movies all around here. This is why sometimes we even saw movies from other companies show up on their competition's channel, because, again, cable back then was the equivalent of what streaming is now. Everyone wanted the right movies. again, think about it like with streaming. Streaming nowadays arguably makes it so that you don't need to buy DVDs or whatnot to watch your favorite movies or whatnot. At least that's the idea in theory. Cable was kind of like that back in the day, especially since they needed a way to entice people to buy cable. Otherwise, as Steele mentioned, then they might just go for the DVD box sets. God, it really is nostalgic talking about how old TV was. No. Hold on, I'm not old. Why am I getting nostalgic?
Jova, it's Jova. Like I've told you before, it's not about how old you actually are; it's how old you feel.
How old you feel.
Trust me. If something makes you trust me, Jova. All that's necessary is for you to feel old, and it works just as well.
Also, I don't know about you, Jova, but all of this tells me is that your family probably was rich enough to actually, allow us to sell that, and infuriates me because instead I was the kid who was not allowed to actually see stuff like Disney Channel, Cartoon Network, or Fox, as in Fox Television, not the fucking news, because my parents did not wanted to pay for that. So.
Okay. Look, I'll admit. I say that cable was this or that, but I'm not sure I'd call it super expensive and that you had to be rich to have it. It was more so the name of the game was saving money wherever you could, and for a lot of people, I guess cable was meant to be the big money saver, the all-and-go one. Again, I'm not saying like it was something only the rich could afford. Like, no. Plenty of people could get cable while also getting DVDs. Again, it's more so down to the mentality that the companies behind the cable services had, essentially, in enticing people to get them more. Because you know the rules. If you have one-stop shopping, essentially, the competition tends to falter, usually in comparison.
Anyway, with the Technomite Air Forces actually dealt with, Clank can actually reach the location that he was saying where Ratchet is. So that's where we're going next time. See you for that.
Probably.
See ya.
See ya.
Ta-ta.